What's up, everybody? Thanks so much for listening. I'm Jenny, I'm a life coach, and today I'm talking about some fucked up shit, okay? Um, some fucked up shit. So that's why it's called trigger warning. So don't cancel me, okay? If any of this is triggering for you, just skip this one. But I'm going to be um, talking about sexual abuse, going to be talking about incest and some other things. So you have been warned. Okay. And I just want to point out that this is not in the realm of normal life coaching. Okay. If you're trying to work on any of this stuff, I unfortunately am not the person. Am not the person to work one-on-one with. Okay, but you do have options. Okay, so I don't think I'm the best person to talk about these things, but the problem is it seems like no one is talking about them. And someone has to, okay, um, because it's out there and it creates a lot of toxic shame, and toxic shame creates a lot of other problems. Um, so, so how do you heal things that you don't want to think about, don't want to talk about, or maybe even can't remember? First of all, there's ways, okay? There's a lot of people out there who are healing. There's a lot more than you think. But everyone's medicine is going to look different. So you're going to have to do research, and there's going to be some trial and error for you to figure out what works for you. Um, but the reason I feel like this is so important, before we go any further, I think we should just do a grounding exercise real quick. So just try to get comfortable wherever you are. Look around the room, look for different shapes, look for squares. See how many squares you can find. This is just something to keep your nervous system calm. Looking for squares. See if you see any circles. Look around for circles, count the circles, and now look for rectangles. See how many rectangles you can find. Rectangles. See if you can hear any sounds besides my voice. What sounds do you hear in the background? See if you can smell anything. See if you can taste anything. Pay attention to where your body's connecting to the floor or your furniture. Take a deep breath. Here's Ralphie making an appearance. Okay. All right, one more deep breath, and then let's keep going. So so the reason, partially the reason I'm talking about toxic shame is because toxic shame creates a lot of fight responses in people. Um, these fight responses can cause a lot of violence, especially in men, but not only men. It can cause a lot of flight responses, so running from your emotions through addictions, um, through addictions and things like that, or it can trigger a fight response where you're turning on yourself, you're fighting yourself, you are getting self-destructive. Okay. And selfishly, I am very, very tired of being collateral damage in men's fight responses. Um, so, so a lot of this is not proof, but it is a felt sense that violence is rooted in a very extreme shame response. And what would cause an extreme shame response to me is these kinds of abuse that we're talking about: sexual abuse, incest, and of course, there's other extreme types of abuse. There's physical, verbal, emotional, but those types of abuse I find are easier for people to talk about and admit to. It's this other stuff. It's this other stuff where they're trying to exist in a reality where this never happened, and they are fighting and they are running from this reality where this happened. Okay. Um, so the thing that I would want to tell people who are dealing with this is I'm really, really sorry that that happened and it wasn't your fault, but it is your responsibility and you have to stop taking it out on other people. Also yourself, stop taking it out on yourself. Um, and the other thing that I want to say is I care about the things that happens to you as far as I'm sorry that it happened. It shouldn't have happened. And I care about the effect on you. But I don't care as far as how I see you as a person, right? I think a lot of people are over identifying with their trauma. They think it means something about them. It and and they think it's some shameful part of their identity. And that shame does not belong to them. That shame belongs to the perpetrators. But it's easier to logically know that than it is to feel that in your body. Feeling it is a step up. Um, but it's possible, okay? Um, it's possible. There's people who are doing it. They're just not talking about it, okay? They're just people don't talk about these things. So, um, I've been in recovery rooms, and those rooms have some big shame stories. And those stories really never leave those rooms. Those are sacred spaces, and those stories do not leave those rooms. There's legal reasons, there's ethical reasons, but there's also just reverent reasons that those stories do not leave those rooms. So most people's shame stories you're never going to hear. And I think that's a good thing because those spaces make it safe for people to tell their shame stories. But it also makes the people who haven't found their way to those rooms think that they're alone. And they're not alone. Um, I met multiple parents in recovery whose children died from neglect or accidents because the parents were in active addiction. Okay. That's a huge shame. That is a shame that could haunt you for the rest of your life if you let it. But these people were doing the work, they were showing up, and they were doing everything they possibly could to keep other people from making the same mistakes that they made. And so nothing is black and white, right? Life would be a lot easier if it was, but it's not. And so so shame is a huge, huge hurdle in healing for a lot of people. Um, and again, everyone's medicine is different. Some people go to therapy, some people don't. Some people come up with some really creative coping mechanisms. Some people talk about it, some people don't. You're going to have to really trust yourself to figure out what works for you. But when you're just starting out, I think the biggest hurdles are believing that you deserve to heal, believing that you deserve to heal, and asking for help. And then just knowing that it's going to be hard work. It's probably not going to be linear. There's no way to know how long it's going to take. So it's just a commitment. It's a commitment to healing with not knowing how long it's going to take and knowing that it's going to be hard. So you have to really want it. You have to really, really want it. Um, so I think that's everything I have for today. Um, again, I'm not a licensed professional. So if you do want to talk about these things with someone, there are licensed professionals for that out there. Um, and and it doesn't matter what happens to you. It matters how you're treating other people. Good-hearted people are not going to judge you for something that happened to you. Okay, what we care about is how we get treated. Is whether you're taking your trauma out on us or not. Okay, and you guys, this needs to stop. Okay, it needs to stop. So I'm going to say this in the most compassionate, loving way possible. If you have extreme shame, you need to get over it. Okay, you need to get over it, um, because it's not helping anyone. It's not helping anyone. Okay, and like, there's so much dysfunction in the world, you guys. We don't need to add extra suffering on top of the suffering that's already there. So that's everything I have for today. Thank you for listening. Please take care of yourselves, take care of each other, and forgive yourself for things that weren't your fault. Thanks so much, everybody. Bye.